And here with me to discuss this in more detail is Anya Walter-Reich. She's an editor, presenter and moderator from the Franco-German channel Arte, and Belgian MEP Gerolf Annemans from Vlaams Belang, sitting in the ENF group. All right, good to have you both with us. I'll start with you, Anya. Emmanuel Macron, we're waiting to hear from him, much anticipated. Is there anything he can say that can
tag on it? On the other hand, we have to see that he doesn't have a lot of room of maneuver. If you ask me what he will offer, I don't think it will be like a huge tax decrease or something. I guess he will probably offer something like help for people who are working poor, so to say, just something to help households to make both ends meet better in the end of the month.
Gerolf, do you think that that will be enough? I mean, especially after we saw, the violence on the streets. Is this the right time for Emmanuel Macron to give in more, we could say?
Well, we should anyhow say that he should not underestimate what is happening. And I don't think any concession can change the general image that he is a failed president already, which he was not in the beginning, according to the brilliant aura and image that he had, winning from Marine Le Pen. Yeah. But France is, since Sarkozy, already looking for a real change, for something else, and was forbidden up till now by the regime, by the system, to elect a president of their own will. And so
excuse me, but they have elected Mr. Macron, alors.
I'm sorry?
They have elected Emmanuel Macron.
Yes, but it was a failure, and it appears to be a failure. And as long as he stays, the unhappiness and the unease of the people will stay.
You disagree that he's a failure?
Well, we'll see. I mean, it is right that in the beginning, when he came into office, there were a lot of hopes that he would really change a lot for the country.
But the votes for him, a lot of it was so that Marine Le Pen will not get into power.
Of course, yeah. About a quarter of the people, of the French people, were originally for Macron. About the same amount is now still supporting him. So I would say the base is still there. Of course, in the end, it was him against Le Pen. So the overwhelming majority of the French people voted for Macron. I think what he has been underestimating is really that the politics that he's done right in the beginning, like, for example, he introduced a tax for the wealthy people, that has been seen as, not very wise step. A lot of people in France had the impression that he's making a policy for the rich people and not for the average person. And I think that's exactly the problem that he has right now. The protests that we are seeing are from people who are really, a large part just wants to make both ends meet in the end of the month.
Yeah, so how do you think people from outside of France, like you're from Belgium, how are people watching this from outside? How do they interpret it and see the impact of it?
Well, I think people, again, should not underestimate what is happening with this yellow vests. The general citizen in the whole of Europe must pay his taxes. He must work longer, he must pay his debts, he must pay all these things that the state asks from him, but the return is always lesser. And so Macron was set there by the European institutions also.
We're not just talking about Macron, we saw protests in Brussels as well.
Of course, yes. It's a general phenomenon. Europe and the European citizens are disappointed with the regimes that govern them, and especially the governing regimes of the European Union and the Eurozone, especially the Eurozone.
Okay, I disagree.
Sorry, I just
to do things.
A government that has been voted for, that has been elected, I wouldn't call that a regime. First of all, and then I think the problem with the yellow vest is also that you don't really know, I mean, everyone can project his ideas into this movement, and that's what we see right now.
That's an underestimation.
Do you think that there's a hijacking of the movement?
You cannot say they voted for it. What we see now in the streets is that the people say we didn't vote for this. And that's what you should not underestimate. People try to correct the result of what the so-called elections of the regime gave as a result. And so Macron, in some sense, is a phony.
All right, we've seen France, Emmanuel Macron dealing with this and putting his government really in trouble. And from that government in trouble to another government in trouble, something you'll be familiar with, is the Belgian government, because the Belgian Prime Minister has relaunched his government as a minority administration after its biggest party in his coalition quit on Sunday. Charles Michel rushed to reshuffle his government, replacing both the migration and health ministers after the Flemish nationalists left the government. The N-VA party quit over its objections to Belgium's commitment to a new United Nations migration deal, and that was signed in Morocco today. All right, Charles Michel, he joined other world leaders in Marrakesh to sign the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly and Regular Migration. It is a non-binding document that aims to open up legal migration and discourage illegal border crossings. The compact was signed despite a string of withdrawals driven by anti-immigrant populism. Well, there you go. We're seeing, possibly similarities in France and in Belgium, the discontent. What do you make of the government of Belgium almost broke up because of the migration issue? It's here again. It's rearing its head again, dividing nations and Europe.
Well, first of all, it did break up, the Belgian government. Could you just put your question again? I just want to understand better what you want.
So the migration issue really is at the heart of a very divisive debate in Europe that is putting a splinter in between governments and the bloc itself.
I think in Belgium, of course, it was for a long time not a topic, this UN migration compact, because I think, if I'm not quite mistaken, it was during the communal elections in mid-November, that it rose again, and that's when your party, I think, gained also some seats. And shortly after that, it was Austria who announced to withdraw from this pact. I think it is a failure because I still believe that the whole idea behind this, that governments were closer together and installing a structure that helps to set rules, is in the end better.
And why is your party so against this? The fact that there's an anti-immigrant sentiment, but at the same time there is this pact that is hoping to deal with that by legal migration, putting a solution to it, making it more structured.
Well, we dispute exactly that point. The compact is created to promote migration.
Not promote, just deal with the current migration
media
issues.
To promote migration and to severely punish media that do not promote migration. Things that are all in the compact. We can discuss about this for over
what was in the compact is managing border controls. It is making channels more clear and safe
anymore
for migrants.
In any international organization that says that they will organize in the place of the people, replacing the governments of the countries in organizing migration, because people very earnestly think that the more international organizations organize migration, the more migration we will have in the end.
No, but part of the pact is to get people to stay in their countries, is to make conditions better in their countries.
I'm here to represent 80% of the Belgian people that say and that agree with me that this compact should not be voted. And we can discuss about an hour to try to convince the people that the contrary is the case.
That 80%, all right.
But nobody earnestly believes that this compact is a good thing for Belgium.
But 80%, I don't know. I wanted to check the number before I came here. It seems a bit too high.
What do you think about what he's saying about this promotes migration rather than deals with the issues of migration?
No, I don't think so. I think the main aim is really to protect the borders better, to fight against human trafficking. So that's something I think most countries, except the 28 that did not vote for today.
But we do acknowledge that there have been withdrawals by different countries,
But I think most countries agree that there need to be some rules that are more or less accepted by everyone.
The government didn't fall because anyone or a majority believed that it could be saved, this compact. The government fell because in the parliament only a left-wing majority voted for this compact, and the right-wing representatives left the government. And there is no majority government anymore in Belgium. It's like a coup. And
at the end of the day, it's non-binding.
Mr. Prime Minister went to Marrakesh as the leader of a coup, as a leader of a junta.
Well,
I'll give you
that's a political problem.
There will be new elections in 5 months anyway, so we'll see what will come out of
exactly. We'll be watching that
Belgium
closely.
will be an unstable country. It was in the past, and it will be.
All right, we'll check back with you when that election actually happens. All right.
My pleasure.